In the making, 40 years for the taking. Anything to be famous. Same story never changes. And I see who you are, and it tears me apart. You're lost in the fog, so go back to the start. You're sick with all the rocks. You're burned with all the stars. I see under your skies. It's so sad what you are. My pretty little rock star. My pretty little rock star. Oh, and right when we had all this greatness on the cusp, you kept on flaking like the paint that's on the rust. I bet you never think I'd heal from the cuts. Now I know you're not a person I can trust. And I see who you are, and it tears me apart. You're lost in the fog, so go back to the start. You're sick with all the rocks. You're burned with all the stars. I see under your skies. It's so sad what you are. My pretty little rock star. My pretty little rock star.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. It is good to be here with you. Let me know if you could see me, if you could hear me. I am bringing up comments on the screen. Now, there's one thing I have to let you know right before we get started, and it is this, that you must allow, just one second, I need to make sure this is working. You must allow Ecamm to see you. So in order to do that, there should be, I'm going to actually click on a button right now and done. So look in the post description and you should see the ability to add Ecamm and give it permission for me to interact with you. That way I can see your comments and everything will work properly. Now, one more thing I need to do is arrange my windows. Give me 1 second. I know it looks like I'm looking this way. I apologize. I need to get a few things adjusted on my screen here and we can kick this bad boy off. Okay. So today's live is all about how to create an attraction marketing flywheel that gets you consistent business in the form of customers and enrollments for your business. So first things first, I want to hear where you're tuning in from. And also if you are watching this live or if you are watching the replay. So let me know. Let's see. I see some comments. I can see and hear you. Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, cool. And I do see a few comments that are a Facebook user, and that's because you didn't give Ecamm permission. This is a new system I'm using. I usually use something called StreamYard. I'm trying Ecamm because with StreamYard, for some reason, my voice, there's this weird delay and I can't sync it up no matter how many times I change my settings. So I'm trying Ecamm. So again, the title of the live today is all about how to create a flywheel, and I'll explain what a flywheel is that gets you consistent customers and enrollments. Perfect, perfect. Okay, I see comments coming in. I see faces. That means you guys are getting it. Awesome. Okay, so before we get into the training though, I want to talk about something that's really, really important. And it's about the network marketing industry. Okay, so a little controversial here, but this is how I feel about this industry. First of all, the great thing about network marketing is that it offers an opportunity with a low barrier to enter. So that means the average person can get started in business quickly and very inexpensively. The problem with network marketing is that it offers an opportunity with a low barrier to enter so that the average person can get started in business quickly and inexpensively. So what this means is we have an industry that promises an opportunity to earn a full-time income with a part-time effort. To be blunt, the network marketing industry, as it's often promoted, isn't honest because it implies that an average person can make an above average income with a part-time effort. So I want to give you an honest pitch for network marketing. Are you ready for this? And this ties directly into what we are going to talk about today in terms of what a flywheel is. So this is how I feel about it. Network marketing is a great opportunity for anyone willing to learn skills that the average person does not have and will likely never acquire. I'm going to say that again because I think this is important. Network marketing is a wonderful opportunity for anyone willing to learn skills that the average person doesn't have and will likely never bother to acquire. Another thing I'll say about network marketing is it also takes an above average effort as well as time to learn those skills, which is why average people don't have them and will likely never acquire them. So the point of this is to say this, that if you want to succeed in a business model that was created for the average person, it's going to take an above average effort to learn skills that the average person will never learn. That's as honest as I can make a pitch for network marketing. And the good news about that is you can choose your own adventure. You can choose your own adventure in terms of which skills you want to learn. And let me just qualify what I mean by that. So if you want to build a business the old school way, there are certain skills you have to get really good at. You have to get really good at approaching people. You have to get good at building rapport with people. You have to get good at checking to see if they're open to an opportunity. You have to get good at inviting them to a meeting. You have to get good at presenting them an opportunity. You have to get good at overcoming objections. You have to get good at following up and asking for the sale and so on and so forth. So that is an option. Those are optional skills. And let's just be frank. Let's be honest. The average person doesn't spend and invest the time, the energy, the effort to learn those skills. There is nothing wrong with those skills. There's nothing wrong with building that way. Now, I don't personally feel like it's the way I want to build. I don't find it particularly leveraged at all. It's very, very manual. In other words, it takes your own personal time and energy of doing something to get results. And over time, when you duplicate that, when other people that are above average, because no average person is going to do that, you have to go from average to above average because you have to learn skills that most people won't bother to acquire, right? So that's path number one. That's the old school way. If you want to build the new school way using attraction marketing, well, there's a different set of skills you have to learn. And we know those skills. Now, before I continue on, if this is making sense, if you agree with this, let me know in the comments. I want to know if you agree, because this is my beef with how network marketing is presented. It's easy. You could have a part-time effort, make a full-time income, and it implies that it's a business for the average person, when it is in fact not. It is not. It's a business that anyone can join because the barrier to enter is very low, which attracts average people. But in order to succeed at it, you have to change who you are. You have to change behaviors. You have to change habits. You have to change your energy and effort, your commitment levels. You have to have an above average desire. All of these things have to be above average. So if I was going to get back into network marketing today, I would be very honest about how I present the opportunity, because guess what? There are above average people out there, or average people who want to be above average. And you can start off a relationship with people on the right foot. So what does this have to do with flywheels? Well, it actually ties perfectly into this idea of a flywheel, because going back to the skills that you have to learn using attraction marketing, there are 4 of them. And we know what those are. You've heard myself and Fernie and other people in our industry talk about those 4 things, but they are attract, influence, enroll, and duplicate, right? So this is where the flywheel comes in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to describe what a flywheel is in the traditional sense. So if you don't know what a flywheel is, and I'll do my best to explain it, I'm not a super engineering type of guy, but as I understand what a flywheel is, it is a mechanical device that stores rotational energy. Okay, so if you can imagine a wheel or disc that in which the inertia, which inertia is actually a resistance and change of motion, but in a flywheel, it actually serves the purpose of maintaining a consistent speed of rotation. Now, I know this is nerdy sounding, but a classic example of a flywheel, a mechanical flywheel, is an engine. So when an engine speeds up, it stores the energy from the engine, or it stores the energy from that speed. And then it releases that energy when it slows down, when the engine slows down. And what this does is it maintains a smooth engine speed and smooth power delivery across a wide array or range of speeds. So that's what a flywheel does in the mechanical sense. Okay. Now, I'm done with the nerdy stuff. Hopefully you guys bear with me because I want to apply this to marketing. What's a marketing flywheel? So a marketing flywheel is a system where you have a set of repeatable tactical investments that improve continuously. And when you're making these investments, we'll talk about what this looks like in a second, but over time, the friction reduces each time you repeat this process, right? So over time, the results that you get from repeating these tactical investments that you're doing continue to increase, okay? And to illustrate this, because I'm visual, I'm guessing you are as well, I'm gonna share my screen really quick. Hopefully you can see my screen. This is the attract, influence, enroll, and duplicate. And so in terms of a flywheel and how this works together, and this is basically an image that you could turn into, and it's very pixelated, I just noticed, so I apologize for that. But you can use this attract, influence, enroll, and duplicate strategy on a high level and say, well, yeah, this is a flywheel framework. It's not a flywheel, but I want to really talk about what a flywheel is right now. So let's come up with an example of flywheels. I think that's going to make most sense for everyone here watching this. So an example of a flywheel in terms of, let's just go with something that's really popular right now, short form video. So think TikTok, Reels. How many of you, by the way, drop a 1 if you are using currently TikTok or Instagram or any short form content of any kind? All right, so drop a 1 if that's the case for you. All right, it takes a minute. I know there's a delay. Okay, cool. All right, so typically when you're doing something like that, the idea, this falls into the attract piece, right? Because you're creating short form content. Maybe you're looking for trending topics. You're creating this short form content, things that people are interested in watching already. And the goal is to leverage the trend, get eyeballs, right? And people look at it, they like it, they go, oh, that's cool. And that gets you more circulation and more people watching it, and so on and so forth. And so that's how you get more followers. And when you do that, maybe an opportunity to move to the next piece of influence. And this, I'm using all of these can be used interchangeably. I'm just giving examples, but maybe you're taking them from there. They go to your link in your bio or whatever, and they see that there's a group, a Facebook group, or maybe it's a webinar, maybe it's whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's an opportunity for you to go to the next level, from attracting an audience to bringing them into your sphere of influence so they continue to see your content, hear from you, watch you, so on and so forth, right? So that's an example of what that would be. And then the enrollment piece, maybe that's a conversation on social media that ends up scheduling into a call, right? So you've attracted them, they've watched some of your content, and they've engaged with your stuff. You've had conversations maybe in comments, and then that leads to a conversation, and that conversation equals enrollment. And then, that starts working really well for you. And those new people are like, wow, I want to do what you're doing. Great. We can leverage my strategy and I can show you how to do that. And that's where duplication comes in. So that's a really simple simple example of a quote unquote system that you can use. That's like a flywheel. And the more you do it, the duplication is what creates more leverage and more results for you, as well as the content. So you've got a system for creating this content. So if this makes sense on a high level for you, let me know. Drop me some hearts, some likes, let me know. Awesome. I'm looking at the comments. All right, perfect. Okay. So that's one example. Let me give another example, and then we'll see if this starts clicking. So another example I'll give is, we'll say, long form content. How many of you, by the way, are doing longer form content like YouTube or Facebook Lives or anything like that, where you're creating content that's longer, right? So I'll give the YouTube example because that's an easy one. So typically when you're creating videos in YouTube, you're looking for trending keywords, right? That's how you attract people. You get the right keywords, you create content that's high value content, and the keywords tell YouTube, oh, this is something that people are looking for. YouTube then shows your video. If your video gets engagements, if it gets good watch time, then YouTube says, wow, this is a great video and it's relevant, and it shows it to more people, right? And what that does is it actually continues to grow your audience for you, right? And remember, one of the qualifications for a flywheel is over time, the more you do it, the less friction there is and the more results that you get, right? Each time you rotate through this flywheel. So this is a great example of that. And then the influence piece, maybe you're sending people to an enrollment offer video or a webinar or a community like we talked about before, whatever that looks like. And then they have a chance to learn more about you, maybe see an opportunity to work with you. And then the enroll piece might be scheduling on your calendar or whatever that might be, right? And this works well for you, and then you duplicate that, right? So that's an example of long form content. We could go on and on with examples. I just want to make sure you guys understand what a flywheel is, because we're going to get into really quickly here in a moment into how to create your own flywheel, okay? And this is really important to understand this concept, because people get really confused about, hey, I understand philosophically, theoretically, what attraction marketing is and how it works. But if you look around you and you look at all of the leaders who are getting results, each and every single one of them have created a flywheel. And it's a system, a repeatable tasks, tactical investments they make of time or money that they can use that continue to get more and more results for them. And so it's really important to understand that context before you go and really dive back in to creating your own flywheel. So again, back to another example. So on the fly, as I'm thinking, no pun intended on the fly, I'm thinking of another one. So let's say it's blogging. So maybe you blog, right? You write, you don't like video, so you write. And when you write, you share that post, you push it out, that attracts your audience, keywords, SEO, that sort of thing attracts your audience. Then people read your blog post and they see on that blog post that there's an opportunity to work with you. So they click on that, they learn, they watch a video or read something, maybe it's a sales letter, whatever that form is, whatever form it takes, that talks about working with you in your business. Maybe they apply, they go to schedule on your calendar, and then you have a conversation with them, and then you see that process duplicate. You keep doing that, and you encourage your team to do the same, right? That's an example of a flywheel. Another example, simple example, would be paid advertising, right? So any of those things we talked about before, you can bring people into a community or build an audience and retarget them with ads, which grows your audience bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And that more and more people see what you have to offer, and then they come into your funnel and they buy your stuff and then end up on a call with you, right? All kinds of examples of a flywheel. Here's the important thing about a flywheel that I want you to understand, and this is crucial. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So what's really important about a flywheel is in every single example, I didn't give 10 things to do to attract. I didn't give 3 things to do to influence or 2 ways to enroll. A flywheel is one thing to start with. You can expand your universe and attract through different mechanisms later. But my recommendation always is to, again, we have to learn a set of skills, right? We have to learn a set of skills that the average person is not willing to learn and won't take the time and energy and effort to actually master. And so an example of that skill would be any one of those things I talked about. How to influence people using content, right? How to create ads, how to write to influence people. All of these things, short form content that gets searched or that gets exposure and traction using trends. All of these things are skills, but they fall into one of those categories: attract, influence, enroll, duplicate, right? But the point of this is you want to start with one thing. Here's what I see often. I see people going, okay, I get attraction marketing. It totally makes sense. I'm going to post reels on Instagram. I'm going to do TikTok. I'm going to do Facebook Live. So they do these things not understanding where this falls into the flywheel concept. And they're leaving a lot of wood shavings on the floor, but not making a lot of furniture. In other words, they're grinding away. They're working really hard, but they're not strategic and they don't understand, how do I link together the attract piece with the influence piece, with the enroll piece, with the duplicate piece? How do I link these things together? So I bring people on the journey. They learn about me. They get to like me, know me, trust me through influence. There's some sort of enrollment process in place where I'm getting people scheduling themselves on my calendar consistently and then duplicating that. I have a training system for my team to be able to use, and automation and leverage, right? So start with one. What is your flywheel that you're going to build? Is it short form video? Is it long form video? Is it getting really good at ads? I want to know what your flywheel looks like. And if you want to see the picture again, to really illustrate what this means, share with me what you think your flywheel is. Now, you don't have to overcomplicate this. An example of an attract flywheel, it could be as simple as this, everyone. It could be doing Facebook Lives, right? To attract people, or it could be short form content, reels, whatever. And then you have a community that people join, right? And then you have a Facebook Live on that community like I'm doing right now. This is an example of a flywheel. You're watching this in action, right? People learn about us. They're attracted to us. They join our community. Some people buy from us, join our community. Some people learn about our videos, join our community. That's an example of flywheel. The community continues to grow. And we do a Facebook Live like the one that I'm doing right now. And that Facebook Live shares value. I'm using the strategy of influence with you. I'm using, in one of my previous Facebook Lives, what I shared was the strategy of preeminence taught by Jay Abraham, combined with what is called direct response marketing and using positive social influence triggers. All of these things are what attraction marketing is. And I'm sharing value with you right here, right now. And in a moment, I'm going to give you an opportunity to learn more about how you can work with us and put a flywheel of your own together. So this that I'm doing right now is what I'm teaching you to do in a, whatever that looks like for you, whatever form that looks like for you. Look, I've built flywheels on webinars, right? Traffic, generating traffic to a webinar funnel. People watch my webinar, they click on a link and buy a thing from me. And then, I take the money that I make from that, invest more into ads, and then that continues to perpetuate and grow and snowball. My list grows, my email list. So every time I have a new offer or whatever, I email that list. That adds more momentum and traction to any message that I do or any content that I put out. So that's an example of a flywheel. I want to ask you if you got this and if it's making sense. And if it is, I want you to really sit down and ask yourself the question, what is my flywheel? What is the machine I want to build that is going to attract me my perfect ideal prospects, that's going to bring them into my sphere of influence, that is going to educate them, inform them, and teach them more about what I have to offer, and then give them the opportunity to reach out or to connect with me or have an enrollment conversation with me. and then replicate, duplicate, and automate that process. So think about that. Now, everyone here is at a different part of their journey. If you are already a 6-figure earner or 7-figure earner, this process evolves. It stays consistently the same. The principle of the flywheel is the same, but the sophistication of each piece might be different, right? So instead of posting short form content over, time, which works, it might be, hey, I want to put money behind this. It's more leveraged for me. I want to automate this attract piece, right? I want to automate this first part right here of attract. I want to automate influence, right? So I might be retargeting people with ads to watch a long form video or whatever that presents my offer or my opportunity to them. And maybe I'll have my team on my calendar rotation being scheduled on calls while I'm doing nothing, right? Which then is duplication, right? So the level of sophistication for the flywheel might evolve over time, but it's really important to start where you're at. So here's my question for you. What's your flywheel look like? What are the skills? That's number one. What is my flywheel I want to create? If you like doing short form content, it probably is going to be that. If you like long form content, it's probably going to be that. If you like the idea of writing, it's probably going to be writing written content. Whatever that is, that's number one. Then ask yourself the question of what skills do I need to learn in order to build my flywheel? To build the flywheel that's going to continually get me a steady flow of leads through my system, scheduling themselves on my calendar so that I can start having enrollment conversations with people and get people started in business and teach them and tell them honestly what network marketing is, that it is a powerful business model for an above average person who's willing to learn skills and invest in themselves to be able to learn these skills so that they can make an above average income. That's my challenge to you. Now, if you like our help with that, we do have an option for you to get our mentorship, our coaching, our help. And if that's something that you would like to learn more about, what I'd ask you to do, or what I encourage you to do, is type guarantee in the comments. Why guarantee? Well, it's simple. Because we will work with you for 3 months. We will teach you how to get at least 3 to 7 new enrollments, 3 to 7 new enrollments every single week. And if we don't do that in the period of time, we'll continue working with you until you do. That's our guarantee. And it's a strong guarantee, and it's one that we back up because we know that, and we understand what flywheel options there are and what the best flywheel probably is going to be for you based on where you are in your journey. And our mentorship team, our entire leadership team, has been doing this for a long time, since 2005, which is almost 20 years that we've been doing this. And we still continue to stay on the cutting edge of what's working. We know what it takes to attract people. We do it every day. We do it in multiple different ways. Our students do it in multiple different ways. We know and understand the strategy of preeminence and how to use influence to get people to understand what you have to offer in a cool way, a non-salesy way. So like, wow, this is awesome. I want to learn how to work with you. And we know how to have a simple conversation, an enrollment conversation, not a sales conversation. It's very different because you're not asking anyone to do anything. You're simply asking them questions, and it's a question-based process where they're selling themselves on working with you. Very different framing of a conversation. And enrollment conversations are much more pleasant. You don't have to deal with objections. They take less time, and you have more committed people who understand, honestly, what you're doing. Not, well, I'll join because I hope that this works for me because, I love the idea of a full-time income with a part-time effort. That sounds awesome. So I'm just going to hope and pray and join you. No, you're going to do it because you're going to be honest and present it in a way where it's like, hey, this is an opportunity. I think it's the greatest opportunity that we have today. However, if you want to succeed, especially the way that I do it, you got to use attraction marketing, right? So that's my offer to you. And if you'd like to have an enrollment conversation, we just talked about this, go ahead, type guarantee in the comments below. One of our team will get with you and set up a time. Now, nobody's going to sell you anything on this call. It's just a call to get to know you, understand your goals, and see if you're even a fit for our one of our coaching programs. And if you are, they'll schedule a time with you to have a different conversation about what that might look like for you. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and type guarantee in the comments below this. And if you found this valuable, please like this. And if you know of anyone that can get value from this concept of a flywheel and understanding how do I link these various activities together in a cohesive strategy that gets me results, go ahead and tag them in here, invite them into this community and let them know about this video. And I love it, love it, love it when I see the hearts and the thumbs ups flying up. So thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for your attention. And as always, thank you so much for your leadership.